sound design is the key to getting more people to watch your YouTube videos all the way through, which is how to get the YouTube algorithm to make your video go viral. Otherwise, people just click on your YouTube video and then immediately click out. For example, this is the B-roll sequence that just played, but without the sound effects. It's boring and loses your attention immediately. To be honest, I always knew it was important to do this, but I just never bothered to do it because I didn't have enough time to put sound effects in my YouTube videos. It's fine, right? By finally getting around to adding sound effects to my videos, my watch time went from looking like this to looking like this, which meant the YouTube algorithm started picking up my videos, ranking them in search, and getting me even more views. So in this video, I will share with you easy places to put sound effects that will immediately improve your videos, and common mistakes a lot of people make, and where I get all my sound effects. The 4 categories where I use sound effects are ambience, action, transitions, and text. First up, ambience. Ambience is basically the atmosphere of a place. For example, think of a busy street. There is a lot of noise. There's street noise from cars, people, dogs, bikes. By adding all those noises, it really adds depth to your video. It triggers all 6 of your senses instead of just your visual sense when you're watching a video. That's actually how movies and TV shows make you feel like you're there in the scene with the main character. I also call this ear candy. Psychologically, human beings actually get a bit of a dopamine hit when you hear certain sounds. That's part of the reason why mobile games like Candy Crush are so addictive. Every single time you match some candy, it rewards you with some ring that makes you want to keep playing. You want to do the exact same thing in your YouTube videos. You want to reward the viewer and make them pay attention with sound effects. The second place to add sound effects are action. Basically, if there's anything happening on screen, you should add sound effects to accent whatever's happening. For example, if you are a cooking channel and you are showing B-roll of chopping, sauteing, baking, washing, whatever, you should add sound effects to complement all of that. Or if you're an art channel and you're showing B-roll of drawing or painting, maybe add some sound effects of your pencil scratching on a piece of paper, or the sound of mixing or applying paint. And here's a more advanced secret tip. You don't always have to find the exact sound that matches whatever you're doing. Sometimes certain sounds matches what's happening more than the object itself. For example, I like to use whooshes or sweeps to emphasize a really dramatic movement of an object or something. Sound designers in movies and TV shows typically use this for punches. A real-life punch doesn't always sound dramatic enough or intense enough for what's happening. So sound designers will experiment with different types of thuds and punching meat or other kind of odd things in order to get the proper sound. Another easy way to apply this for something like a vlog channel is, let's say you're going out to get coffee. You would apply walking sounds as you're walking on the street to get to your coffee shop. Maybe you'll hear the jingle of a bell when you open the door, and you might even hear small tap or thud sounds when you put the coffee cup that you got down on the table. And the next place I like to add sound effects are in transitions. Transitions are basically these effects that you can add onto your videos when you are transitioning from one topic to the next, or one scene from the next. It's really important to use transitions sparingly because it can look kind of cheesy, kind of like a broke-ass PowerPoint. Places where you've commonly seen transitions used is typically in Star Wars movies, where they will do an iris transition or a wipe transition. Typically, these types of transitions used anywhere else is a little bit cheesy, but because that is kind of a defining element of Star Wars movies, they can get away with it. When you're using them, you can add an extra layer of sound effects to go with your transition to alert your audience that you're going from one topic to the next. If you want to see this technique in action, it's commonly used in a lot of commercials and advertising. For example, cracking open a nice, cold, refreshing soda and then transitioning into a scene of someone drinking it. What they're doing is cramming in as much dopamine and ear candy as possible in this little 30-second ad to keep you from clicking away, because they know you have your mouse over the skip ad button and they're doing everything they can to get you to not skip the ad. The next and easiest place to add sound effects is with your text or graphics. And you can add bubble pops, clicks, or punches in order to emphasize the words that are appearing on screen. That will actually make people look at the screen and watch your video, because a lot of people don't actually watch YouTube videos, they listen to them while they work. But the thing is, the more people actually pay attention and watch your video, the better. So adding things like this will definitely help. If you don't have B-roll to spice up your videos and make it more interesting to watch, I always recommend adding text or graphics, and on top of that, add sound effects with them. It's also particularly great for these type of talking head videos. Let me let you in on a little trick that I like to do. Sometimes when I'm cutting in or out of a shot, I will add a clicking sound or some kind of sound effect to really make sure you pay attention. Now, before you go off and and start adding all the sound effects to your videos, it's important to know some of the common mistakes that most people make. The first mistake is if the sound is too short or too long for whatever action is happening. For example, if you're typing something into Google and the typing doesn't last all the way through, then it's a little awkward. I noticed this is particularly bad if you are doing some kind of whooshing sound. If I'm doing this and the whoosh is too long or too short, then it's a little weird. Also, an easy mistake is when the sound is out of time. Then it's kind of like a really bad dub. Like in those old Chinese kung fu movies where the words just don't match.
Oh yeah, try my nuts to your fist.
I would also avoid sound effects that are a little bit too cheesy sounding. This is kind of subjective because cheesy might not be cheesy for someone else, but depending on your subject matter, for example, if you're talking about something serious, a breakup, a death, a sad thingy, maybe don't use cheesy comedic sound effects to emphasize those kind of moments. Another really important aspect of sound design is making sure it's not too loud. There needs to be hierarchy with your different types of sound effects. So with ambience, I like to keep it fairly low. For certain clicks and pops, I like it to be fairly loud because it is supposed to get your attention. But overall, sound design shouldn't be distracting. The place where I get all my sound effects is from Epidemic Sound. I used to get my sound effects from freesound.org because it was free and I was broke, but you have to be kind of careful which ones you choose because for some of them you have to credit the original creator. And I find I waste a lot of time sifting through all of the sound trying to find the right one. Whereas Epidemic Sound is perfectly curated, it's organized into different genres and types, you don't have to credit anyone, which has saved me a lot of time. One feature I particularly like about Epidemic Sound is it has a button where you can click to see similar sounds. That's so perfect when I found a sound I kind of like but wanted to see other options out there. I'll have a link down below if you want a free trial of Epidemic Sound. I use it, I love it, and it saved me so much time. But if you're still adamant on getting free sound effects, the best way to do it actually is to record your own while you're filming. That's actually what professional filmmakers do. They have a separate sound person whose sole job is to collect sound on set. For example, when I'm vlogging, I like to keep the sound of the original clip and maybe just lower the volume of it just so you have that ambience of what it sounded like when we were actually there. And next, you need to watch these similar videos next to learn more about how to make your YouTube videos better, and don't forget to dare to dream.